Next on Worcester News tonight, dozens gathered to remember a teacher's aide found strangled last week as police search for her killer. Plus, a fire in Rutland destroys a business, why multiple fire departments had to respond. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. Dozens gathered Wednesday for the wake of a teacher's aide found dead last week. Authorities say the Worcester School District aide was strangled. Tonight, family, friends, and colleagues of 49-year-old Sandra Hare met at the Callahan Fay Caswell Funeral Home for her wake. This as authorities continue to search for the person who strangled her. Hare's funeral will be held Thursday at St. Andrew the Apostle Mission Church. The burial will be private in the spring. A Worcester man accused of trying to run over 2 police officers in 2015 pled guilty to multiple charges in court today. 22-year-old Christian Connors faced a judge in Worcester Superior Court. According to the Worcester County District Attorney's Office, Connors pled guilty to multiple charges, including breaking and entering, larceny of a motor vehicle, and possession of a firearm. Prosecutors say Connors drove a stolen car at 2 Worcester police officers in June 2015. He is sentenced to 7 to 10 years in prison. A commercial building in Rutland went up in flames Wednesday afternoon. The fire department says by the time crews arrived on scene, the building was completely engulfed. The acting fire chief says the fire broke out around 12:40 p.m. Wednesday on Glenwood Street. The 2-story building is home to Santoro Outdoor Power. The chief says the building is a total loss, but thankfully no one was inside or hurt. Many neighboring towns responded to the fire to bring water.
District, so there's no fire hydrants. So we went to a first alarm fire assignment, which brought in mutual aid from neighboring communities that brought in fire tankers to support the operation at scene.
The cause of the fire is under investigation. Auburn police are warning residents of a phone scam where someone impersonating a police officer is asking for money. Police say they were alerted to the scam Tuesday morning. Some residents say they received a phone call from an Officer Riley asking for donations for the Santos Family Support Fund. According to police, the scammer asked you to leave the donation taped to the door or in your mailbox. Police say there is no Officer Riley at their department and they would never call people asking for money. The state auditor's office announced Tuesday some costs associated with early voting were an unfunded mandate. In Worcester, the Election Commission says more than $118,000 was spent on early voting this past November. The money is part of the election budget set by the City Council. The Assistant City Clerk says the goal of early voting was to make voting as accessible as possible for voters. The Secretary of State did reimburse the city $12,000. The clerk's office says 16% of residents took part in early voting and 50% of residents voted on Election Day. They say this is the highest turnout the city has seen. A roofing company in Worcester is busy removing snow off of homes to protect them. The project manager of On Top Roofing says the removal helps prevent leaks and roof damage. Our Rosalind Flaherty saw the crews at work today and has the story.
A series of winter storms has On Top Roofing busy, removing snow and ice from buildings.
The 2 big storms within a week of each other does make people nervous, and we have been getting the calls to clear some snow.
Wednesday, the crew was clearing heavy snow off a Worcester homeowner's roof in an effort to prevent damage.
We're not breaking the ice away from the gutters or anything like that because, again, there's not a current leak.
On Top Roofing says if a home's roof isn't taken care of, there can be damage spreading to inside the home, as well as ice or snow sliding off.
Obvious concern, obviously, is people, little ones, snow falling on them. So having us come clear it for you, keep you all safer.
Josh Smith is the project manager. He says a common problem is ice dams, a buildup of ice at the edge of the roof, and he is seeing more of them after Sunday's storm hit.
Usually caused by heat loss in the home. Once the ice builds up, the melting snow from the higher level comes down, hits the buildup of ice, creating the dam and allowing water to infiltrate into the home.
Smith says safety is the biggest concern when clearing off a roof, and if you're going to do it yourself, do it from the ground using a plastic rake.
If you do have to do it from a ladder, try to keep 3 points of contact to be safe.
Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
In the past couple of weeks, Worcester has received multiple feet of snow, leading many people to shoveling. While the strenuous activity may be a good exercise, one Worcester cardiologist is warning people about the health risks involved. She says especially with heavy snow, simply shoveling a sidewalk or stairway can overwork the heart and could cause a serious episode.
People that don't often exercise and exert themselves go from being sort of a couch potato to suddenly clearing very heavy snow off large areas and really being extremely active. And what can happen in that situation is that they can develop symptoms of chest pain, chest tightness, shortness of breath that they may ignore that are actually quite serious and could be a harbinger of something terrible to come.
Dr. Cynthia Ennis advises people to be cautious of their bodies and not to ignore chest pain, especially when exerting themselves physically. Battling depression and suicidal thoughts, it's an issue many college students deal with and may not be getting the help they need. Today at Worcester State, one student group looked to put a spotlight on the issue and highlight how important it is to get help. Our Aide Madison has the details.
Suicide and depression can be uncomfortable to talk about.
Telling me that I had to die. And that voice was overpowering.
For Kevin Hines, he talks about it every day.
60 days, 2 months of feeling massively suicidal, and I ended up utilizing electroconvulsive therapy to reframe my brain.
Hines has struggled with depression since he was a teenager. At 19 years old, he attempted suicide by jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. Fortunately, he survived and has made a long journey back in recovery.
Nobody's immune to mental struggles in their life. Nobody's immune to potentially being diagnosed with a mental illness. And nobody is immune of, more simply, brain pain.
At Worcester State, Hines spoke candidly about dealing with depression. Some in the crowd wiped away tears as they listened to his story.
I struggle with depression and mental health myself, and he's just very moving and kind of gives you hope to carry on and just enjoy life.
According to the national data on campus suicide and depression, 1 out of every 12 college students makes a suicide plan. Worcester State, like most college campuses, has counseling services available. Active Minds is one student group hoping Hines' speech will help those looking to get help but may be afraid to ask.
We have counseling. There's always a counselor on call during the nights, and there's campus police.
At times, Hines mixed in humor as he talked about how important it is to look out for one another.
Pat Hines has got to go.
His message to students, it's okay to ask for help.
When you're talking to students, one of the greatest things that you find is that they're waiting to tell someone about their pain. They just don't know how to initiate the conversation. This presentation initiates the conversation.
Aide Madison, Worcester.